Jim, you touched on it. Something doesn't seem quite right. Well, there have been in the news about a potential salary cap breach. Let's talk about that. What do you guys know?
It's historic. It's allegations. I sound like a bloody lawyer. I sound unbelievable. If my missus could hear me, she'd be melting.
Is she talking to you? You're hiding in the toilet again, Jim?
No, we're back now, actually. So she's a good friend of mine. It doesn't sound anywhere near as serious as what we saw at Saracens, but it seems like there potentially is something there. There's, again, how it's all done is kept under wraps. They've obviously released a statement saying that it's being looked at, and that was always the worry, wasn't it? The worry was always that with what happened to Saracens, there'd be question marks over other clubs. Leicester wasn't one of the clubs that I would have thought, especially only going back 5 years, would have been looked at. But clearly something's happened, and it's around image rights. And Goode, I know, again, something you're probably more up to speed with, because, again, something that turns me on about you is the law that the laws and, the philosophy and then kind of undercurrents of academia, which just turn me on. But yeah,
I turn you on, James.
No, when you speak in that literature of law, yes. But it seems like there's something there. It doesn't seem that serious. I don't know whether much will come from it. And if it does, I mean, it will be a bit of a shit show, won't it? Because clearly nothing to do with Steve Borthwick, Andrea Pitcham as well, who's the CEO, who was there, but nowhere near in the capacity that she is now as CEO, and the players as well. So watch this space. I don't know, Andrew, do you think we'll hear fairly soon or not? Or do you think it could be just something that goes away quietly?
I don't know. I mean, I suppose from everyone else's perspective, every other club, and when you see this, and obviously I'm hosting on match days now at Leicester, and we both love the club for everything that it helped us in our career and we achieved there as players. It's clear Steve Borthwick's come out, and you can't beat around Jim's bush anymore, but he said it wasn't me, it was before me. So he's basically said, and he's literally said it's nothing to do with him, it's not his fault, it's someone else before. So you go back.
Deny.
Yeah, deny, reaccuse. So he's denied, and he's reaccused the people that were in charge before him. Andrea Pitcham, the CEO, she took over in, I think, April 2020. And there was the whole thing around, if you remember, the player wage cuts, then Manu Tuilagi leaves, there's a few other players that leave as well. But this is historically so it's somewhere over the last 5 years. We don't know the facts yet. It is just, at the minute, it's just something that's out in the press. There's no formal kind of disciplinary action taken by Premiership Rugby. It's an investigation.
Go on, keep saying these words. Go on.
It's an investigation. So has there been a breach is the first question, which is what they're trying to find out at the minute. And it's all based around this company that's been in the press around who paid image rights to players that's now been closed down. So there obviously is something there for the investigation to take place. Then you've got to balance up whether it was a breach that had deliberate intent and what the severity of the breach is. So there's obviously the ramifications in the way the salary cap's written now. The amount that you're over the salary cap dictates how heavy the sanction is, but I think also intent's got to play a big part. So if they've intentionally said, right, we'll just pay them this, and via this company, and we won't declare it, then there is a bigger issue there. But the harsh thing is, and the two things to say about it is, whatever punishment Leicester get given if they are found guilty, and that is an if they are found guilty and they're given a punishment, whether it be a fine, whether it be a points deduction, whatever it may be, it's clearly historical, and it's a different group of people, pre the CEO, currently Andrea Pitcham, pre Steve Borthwick, who have had an impact on what would be the situation now. Some of the players would have been impacted by it, because there's players that have been there a long time that may have received money via this image rights company. And as long as they've been honest about what's happened, then they shouldn't really be held culpable. But you also have got to look at it and say the rules and regulations are there to be adhered to. This £5 million salary cap at the minute is there to make it A, level playing field, but also B, to keep the game sustainable. And a lot of other clubs will be looking at it. You hear rumours, like you've said before on Jim, there's other clubs that are supposedly paying players to go to dinners that they don't go to. But it's
did I say that?
apparently so, yeah. So, I'm not saying that Leicester haven't done anything wrong. We've got to wait and see what the investigation finds, and then we can sort of look at it from that point of view and say, right, these are the findings. This is the punishment, and yeah, it's justified or no, it's not. And I think you can only live by and work by the frameworks that were in place after the miners' report, which was a thorough investigation of, and there's a big difference between Saracens, what happened to them, and supposedly what's happening to Leicester. Let's not forget, Leicester didn't win a thing. In these 5 years, they haven't won a thing. Yes, they qualified for the Heineken Cup, but they, it's not like they got hand medals back or anything like that. Or people are saying you've won so much by cheating. They haven't achieved anything in terms of winning medals, have they? Let's be honest. So it's slightly different from that perspective. But also, I think the other difference is around it with Saracens. I think Saracens were asked, open up your books now to have a look at the books to see if you are within the salary cap for the current season, which is why they ended up getting relegated, because they were still in breach of the salary cap. So Leicester's is historical. If they're in the clear now in terms of their salary cap for this season, then you've got to judge them on that for this season. But also historically, you've got to look at what the issue is, and if they are found guilty, then you have to punish them. And then intent comes into it, and how much by, and we can only wait and see. You can speculate as much as you want. We don't know all the facts yet, but obviously there's enough there to have an investigation, and when that's completed, we can all kind of have a look at it and judge it from then.
When it first came out, I was like, oh, here we go again. I've been brought into another salary cap scandal.
Is it you again?
Well, I was worried, and then I pulled out my contracts from Leicester and saw that I was on $5,000 a year, and that went up to about 35 when I was an international. So I was thinking, was it these sweetie machines that Richard Cockrell gave me that we ripped off the wall in Loughborough and stole all the minstrels and blamed it on some Loughborough student? Cockers, I'm sorry. Life's moved on now, but thankfully I've got nothing to do with it at all. Not this time, not that I had anything to do with the Saracens one, but I got brought into it, which, hey, gave me 10,000 more followers on Twitter, so I was happy.
What about your one-bed flat in Luton, overlooking the M1?
No comment.